Anything related to automobile. That's been my madness.
അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നുള്ളത് ബാംഗ്ലൂരാണ്. വിൻറ്റേജ് കാർ ലവേഴ്സിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഹെവൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നൊരു സ്ഥലത്താണ് ഞാൻ ഇന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പം അതിൻ്റെ എല്ലാം തുടക്കക്കാരനും ഇതൊരു പ്രൈവറ്റ് കളക്ഷനാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് പുള്ളിനെ പരിചയപ്പെടാം. പുള്ളിയുടെ പേര് ഡോക്ടർ രവി പ്രകാശ് എന്നാണ്. സോ വിൽ ടോക്ക് ടു ഹിം.
Namaskaram. I'm Dr. Ravi Prakash. I've been a passionate collector of vintage and classic cars for over 40 years. And I have I'm proud that I've got sort of an enviable collection. But more than my collection, what I've collected over 40 years, I'm very proud to say I have a family who is a great support to me. My wife and both my daughters have been a great strength in my journey with vintage and classic cars for the last 4 decades.
So how did you start? Like during your college days itself, you mentioned that you were somehow related to cars. So how did that happen?
I was into rallying and racing, and I also was very fond of cars. So I used to sort of mechanically little inclined. So I used to sort of fiddle around with my father's car and try to do seats. In fact, he wanted some nice seats made, and then those days fixing in a diesel engine was a very novel thing because petrol was getting expensive. And I remember spending about a week in Coimbatore getting a diesel engine done with Coimbatore Auto Garage, and the seats done with the Koyas, who are very, very well known for that. But other than that, I started off my little bit of racing and rallying, and my friends in Mysore were pretty responsible. A very dear friend of mine, Salman, who is a great tuner and who's a very great enthusiast of modifying and repairing and all. And he and initially a very dear friend of mine, Vinod Herur, is an engineer who's in California. He was my rally navigator. So we started, rallying with my Jeep and his father's car, and we got some, placings in this events, and which gave us a good kickstart to sort of continue this as a hobby.
Okay.
And I knew doing medicine way back in 78, 79, that we could not continue, all over. But fortunately, I had a very good season in racing and rallying. By the year 1984, I had about 72 victories under my belt and about 105 placings.
Wow.
They are all my trophies of my rallying and racing. So that really sort of gave me, but in 84 I thought enough is enough, and then I need to sort of get off into medicine instead of racing and rallying. But my passion towards cars never died down. So from modern car racing, I started collecting vintage and classic cars.
Okay.
My very first car was willed to me by General Mahadevan, who was the army commander of Northern Command.
Wow.
And it so happened that I went to witness the Sholauram races way back in 79, February. Then I saw this beautiful car passing by. Then I asked a friend of mine, I said, very nice car. He said, man, the car is there on the papers this morning, it's for sale. So then we went to a small shop and picked up a newspaper. Then I saw it's a Sunbeam Talbot 2 liter, and the car was for sale. And then the gentleman, General Mahadevan, used to live in Red Hills.
Okay.
So then we said, no, let's just go there and meet him, because I was wanting to buy a car then. In fact, a week before I'd advanced for a Mercedes in Bangalore,
Okay.
a 290 convertible. But then this car somehow sort of stole my eyes and also my heart.
Okay.
So I said, no, let's go meet this gentleman. So I went and met this gentleman who was about 6'2" tall,
Oh, wow.
Retired Army General. He and his wife, Kamala, his wife's name was, and he just took a liking towards me, and he said, "Would you like to have some beer?" And not that I was a great drinker,
Okay.
but then I said yes, sir, and then I probably had a bottle of beer. He had a couple of bottles, and they were living on the first floor.
Okay.
And later I asked him, what is the price of the car? He said 40,000.
Oh my God.
And this car was owned by Lord Mountbatten.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I got the car from Lord Mountbatten. But 40,000 was a money which was beyond my reach.
Yeah.
And we could get any good car for 10 to 15,000, or maybe even 8-9,000 those days. So 40,000 was sort of beyond. And then he said, no, this is the only car that came to India, all that he said. Then I said, sir, okay, very nice and all. And then he said, okay, come, let me see you off. So he came down from the first floor. He came and saw me off. And I said, thank you. With a heavy heart, because I knew I'm not going to buy that car because I did not have that kind of source. I left and I got back to the car and we went to the races. It was all practice laps. Then in the evening, I thought, let me call him up and thank him. And his wife for the hospitality,
And that was
they had offered to me. So I called up, his wife picked up and she said, no, no sooner you left, my husband was walking up the stairs and he probably had one too many beers with you. He slipped, he's fallen down, he's broken his leg, he's in the command hospital. That sort of took my heart away. So I called up my father because I had driven down in my father's car. So I told my father, Dad, this is what has happened. So can I leave the car here? I believe he was a very fussy man. He wanted the food to be brought every morning and afternoon, evening, and his wife has to take it by bus to Command Hospital from Red Hills.
Okay.
So I thought, I felt so guilty. It's all happened because of me. So I went. My dad, without batting his eyelid, he said, "No, son, you can leave the car." So I left the car. I asked my friend to give a driver, for whatever that days, organized everything. I went to the hospital later in the evening. I met him. Then I met his wife and I told her, Ma, here is the car. You please use the car. And then I came back. After about 2 weeks, they said, he's back in the house. You can take the car. Then I asked my friend's driver, drive back. Then it was February, then it was all, over. Because I knew that I'm not going to buy the car. I didn't have the resources. Then in November, and she sent me a telegram that General passed away.
Oh, okay.
So then I could not go. Those days it was only telephone. Trunk call you make, you have to wait for 3 days. So the telegram, and I said, okay. And then I went for the 11-day ceremony. I just paid my respects and came back. Then later, end of December, she again wrote a letter. I said, please come and collect your car. That probably was the most hardest time of my life because we have not discussed about the price, but I need to collect the car. That means I need to have 40,000.
40,000, yeah.
And I had about 10, 12,000, but we did have a lot of friends, my classmates, who are all NRIs. Most of their parents used to work in, Gulf.
Oh, okay.
So they all had some money. So I begged, borrowed money. So I took another driver. I said, let's go to Madras. So with 40,000 and a little more money to fill in gas, I went there.
Okay.
Then I met her. So she offered me, some snacks and tea. I had everything. And then finally she came with an envelope and a key and said, this is your car, this is the thing. Then I gave the money. She said, no, I don't want the money. General has willed this car to you.
Oh my God.
And I said, ma'am, what is this? And she was so kind. I remember this word. She said, leave alone the car. If he had a daughter, we would have given our daughter's hand in marriage to you. I was so touched. I told her, I said, ma'am, give me some time. I'll come back. Then I drove down. Then Asiad thing was coming. The TV was a big thing. So I went to Kashi Chetty Street, picked up a TV and a VCP, which I spent about 22,000 rupees. Came back, got the technician, installed the TV, VCP, VCR, So put everything, and I said, ma'am, at least you can watch, And then I'm so grateful for your car and all. And I took the car and drove. So the first ever got that is the Sunbeam. You must have also seen.
Yeah, we already saw
Sunbeam.
Yeah.
And that car was willed to me. And that's how my journey with vintage.
Oh, so such a touching story also.
Started.
Wow.
I was connected with her for a while, and then she moved to Coimbatore, and later I lost touch with her. So that's how my journey started.
Wow.
My vintage and
That's
classic.
such an inspirational story also. So you've been doing this like from 80s, you've been 40 years, you've been collecting cars. And then, I figure that there is a lot of Kerala connect also because there are a lot of collectors in Kerala, and then you most probably acquire cars from there. And so, do you have any Kerala connections that you can?
I do have a lot of friends from Kerala. In fact, even in my earlier college days in St. John's, even though we were 60 students, I think the majority of the students were from Kerala.
Okay.
Because all the nuns, we have about 9 nuns, they were from Kerala, and then almost another 20 boys and girls were all from Kerala. So almost 50% of the students were from Kerala, because also at that point in time, our dean was from Kerala, Dr. C.M. Francis. He was from Kerala. So there was a little affinity for the Kerala people. Other than that, I do have, connect with Kerala because I have a very prestigious car which belongs to the Maharani of Travancore.
Oh, okay.
So their Sunbeam 125 limousine is with me, and that's one of the first cars. After that, we have a Mustang, which is also Kerala registered car. Other than that, I do have a very special car which belonged to one of the former presidents of India, K.R. Narayanan. Yeah, the car that he used when he was the president of India.
Yeah.
So I have that Mercedes also, which I got from the presidential estate. In fact, there's a car from his time and also car from Mr. Venkatraman's time. I do have 2 of these presidential cars, which we treasure in our thing. Other than that, there are also a few more cars, but I really can't name them, but I have picked up a few cars from Kerala. But by and large, my cars from all over the country. And I do have a lot of noted personalities cars. I do have cars from GRD Tata, and at least we have almost about 85-90 cars from the erstwhile Maharajas of this country. And very noted poet from Karnataka, Kuvempu. I have his car. Also, we have a car which belonged to Motilal Nehru. Lancaster Straight 8, which belonged to Motilal Nehru. Then quite a few cars. In fact, even the Sunbeam Talbot, I have pictures where Lord Mountbatten was driving the car with Nehru.
With Nehru? Wow.
Yeah, Lady Mountbatten, and they were all driving the car. So I do have some of the pictures I've collected from the archives. So we do have a sizable and noted collection, and which we now plan to put all these. Other than that, I have also collected books, manuals, catalogs, and journals, starting from late 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Till very recently. I have books, close to little over 18,000. And I do have first day covers, stamps, coins, and Franklin Mint, silver and bronze ingots, and a whole lot of things related to automobiles, whole lot of mascots and all kinds of stuff. So to put all these things together, we are building up a museum. We have found a family trust, and that's a charitable family trust. And both my girls, I have told them, I said, this is my passion and this is what I've been doing, which started as a hobby. And now, tomorrow when we have the museum, we are the trustees, the 4 of us are the trustees, with Dr. Virendra Hegde of Dharmasthal. He is the patron of the trust. So I've told the girls, when they get married, their husbands won't be trustees, because we don't know their interest. And I've also told them the boys should be getting married to what you are and not what you have. So, but we have also got few policy laid down. Tomorrow when the museum comes up, whatever money that we are going to make, part of it is going to go for the maintenance of the museum, and rest of the monies will go for anybody who meets with road traffic accident for their treatment.
Okay.
So we said, God has been kind to us, we've been blessed with all this, but we need to do something to the less fortunate.
Yes.
So this is what we have done. So all these automobilias, books, magazines, cars, and we do have close to 100 over motorcycles, two-wheelers. So everything is going to be part of this museum. We do have cycles, about 50 odd cycles. We do have one of the oldest cycle, 1860s, known as Bone Shaker or Velocipedia. I have that. Then I have a penny farthing. I have a couple of other tandem cycles and things like that.
Wow.
And other than that, we have also collected a whole lot of carriages, horse carts, and bullock carts and camel carts and things like that. So all that is going to be part of this transportation. The evolution of transportation in India. That's what going to be in the
this
museum.
would be, I think, by the looks of it, this would be the biggest this sort of museum in South India, no?
This would be one of the biggest museums in India, and probably one of the largest also in the globe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The size of it, yes.
Yeah.
And I do have a lot of friends who are supporting, because in the recent past, I've been the secretary of the Karnataka Vintage and Classic Car Club from 1996 till 2017, where I moved out of Karnataka Vintage and Classic Car Club and formed a All India Federation, because that was the need of the day that Government of India wanted us to represent. So we formed a federation, getting all the clubs and museums in India together. And with that, we also have an affiliation of the world body called FIVA. And FIVA is the world body, headquartered in Italy. And also now FIVA has become part of UNESCO. Way back in 2016, UNESCO also identified the movable, heritage monuments, and that these vehicles.
Vintage cars would come
vintage cars and classic cars. So with all that, there are a lot of friends who are willing to help me in putting up this. So we are waiting for some more clearances. Last year being pandemic, we were not able to get through most of the permissions. Hopefully this year we'll go through and we'll have this museum start up and running, and in few years it should be there for everybody to see and enjoy.
Oh, that would be really great. So, and there's a lot of work going, the cars that you get are not always in a running condition, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into it also, right? So where do you get these cars? Like you know about a car and you go there, or like you go in somewhere, you see a car? How is the process?
Good old days we could see cars, but these days it's all become extinct. It's only word of mouth. Somebody knows about it, and then we'll get to, find out. Then once we get to know the car, then we'll start working on it. And the cars comes in all shapes and conditions. Some cars are basket cases. Some cars are all pretty or decent condition. But we have a full-fledged workshop over here. We have trained mechanics, tinkers, carpenters, upholstery people. So everybody is there. So we get cars and basket conditions, but we do refer, today with the internet and with all the clubs all over the world and friends all over, it's not difficult to get information, parts, and we do fabricate some of the parts, or we do get them from across the globe. Friends help us out, so we try to bring back all these cars back to life, and I'm happy my daughter Rupali is very much involved with it. Shefali is also involved with it in taking to the shows and all. She lives in London. But Rupali is a hands-on person who lives here in Bangalore. She's a great support in getting this car to the restaurant.
So in this whole collection of yours, what's your favorite car?
Yeah, that's a very easy and a difficult question, because if you ask me, who's your favorite daughter? So I really don't have any favorites. I just love them all, because every car that I bought is there's always something special about it. The way I've acquired it and the model and there's so many characters of each vehicle. And they are all beautiful, they are all lovable in their own right. And I love them all, and I really don't have any favorites. And yes, if you do ask me that whether any other cars that you would acquire, I said yes, I do have few cars in my mind, and probably once the money comes in, then I'll start buying.
What are these cars?
There are some cars like the supercharged Mercedes, Bugattis. There are so many cars, but I do have a decent collection of Rollses, old Rollses, and a whole lot of cars. But there are a few cars which do, impress me a lot. Yes, they are a lot of money today. In fact, the cars are now become, very expensive. Not only maintaining them, even buying them has become expensive.
Yes.
So in the days to come, hope, I get way out to access good monies where I can buy these cars.
So so Bugattis are very rare here in India, right? So
most of these cars are rare, and there are some collectors who have. So it is just that if you're destined, you will get it. There's no two ways about it. But then now the import policies are also becoming, quite relaxed, and then they're a way to import. And we the Federation are working very closely on getting the import duties, reduced and things like that. So once those kind of things happen, it should not be a problem even importing. Yeah, nice car.
Okay. So I saw that the Bangalore Days car is here. So Dulqar Salman had been here, and
in fact, Dulqar and his director Anjali Menon, both of them were here. They shot for a few days here. Other than shooting 2 of the cars on their entire Bangalore Days movies, and he was a very nice young boy, and he was here, very friendly, very nice youngster. And then I was happy to meet him and share a few things with him. What I liked about the movie, I've really not watched Malayalam movies, but probably this is the only movie where I watched twice in the theater, and probably 4-5 times, on the TV. Even though I could not understand, but there was also, subtitle. But the movie was so interesting. It just carried on without a second of any, boredom. So it's really, really interesting. And then I think Dulqar and everybody has acted so well. And other than that, Anjali Menon has done a good job. And she also needed some help for some of the movies, and she's been in touch once in a way. And it's been a nice connect with all of them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nice. It's pleasure having you all over.
Thank you.
And then I want a lot of friends in Kerala to know about this, and I want them all to be part of the Federation, because tomorrow the Federation will safeguard every collector's prized possession. It could be an Ambassador or a Fiat, or it could be a Mercedes or a Rolls Royce. For a Federation, it's all the same. And I want everybody to support us so that we can take it to the Government of India and see that everybody is supported, so that these vehicles will not only be with them, it can go on for the younger generations to come. So all that is that. And I also wish everybody a very bright, prosperous, healthy, nice historical movement, historical vehicle year 2.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. അമീർ ഖുസ്രോ ആണെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞത് ഭൂമിയിലെ സ്വർഗം ഇവിടെയാണെന്ന്, കശ്മീരിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട്. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ പറയുന്നു, ഒരു മോട്ടർഹെഡിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം സ്വർഗം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ബാംഗ്ലൂരിൽ ഇവിടെയാണ്. ഈ വീഡിയോ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. എൻ്റെ വീഡിയോകൾ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, കമൻറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. നിങ്ങളുടെ വാല്യുബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് കമൻ്റായിട്ട് അറിയിക്കുക. താങ്ക് യു ഫോർ വാച്ചിങ്.